This program is rated PG. It contains themes and scenes which may not be suitable for very young audiences. Parental guidance is advised.
Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle. Audio Jungle.
Hello Philippines and hello world! I am Idaisa Queen Rosario, your Chica Dora host. We are here again to open our eyes with the sizzling hot topics, live here in Tara Chica! In this segment, we will be talking about the literary history of the Philippines and the significant events that happened on that period. But before anything else, let me introduce our today's guest, starting with Mr. Norman Irabon, one of the famous historian in today's generation. Let's give him a round of applause, please.
Thank you for having me here, Miss Eds. It's a pleasure to be here.
Next is one of the winners of the National Poetry Competition held last 2021. Let's give a round of applause for Rosel de la Torre. Hi! Hello, good afternoon Miss Eds and good afternoon everyone. Last and third in line is the national famous singer, composer, and writer. Let us welcome Mr. Kent Jorian Zablan.
Good morning, everyone. It's an honor to be here and thank you for inviting me.
After introducing our lovely guests, let us now begin our segment, Tara Chica! Good morning, our lovely guests.
Good morning, Miss Eds.
Eds.
So now we will be answering a few questions prepared by our beloved viewers and listeners posted in our Twitter account with the hashtag TaraChica. So the first question to be answered by Mr. Norman. Can you please tell us more about the Third Republic of the Philippines?
The period of the Third Republic began in 1981 and lasted until 1985. The Philippines became a new nation, and this former President Marcos called the New Republic of the Philippines. After 10 years of military rules and some changes of the life of the Filipino, which started under the period of the new society, martial rule was last lifted on January 2, 1981. During this period, many people sit with rebellion and protest because of the continued oppression and suppression. This was aggravated when the former Senator Benigno Aquino Jr., the idol of the Filipino masses, whom they hoped to be the next president, was brutally murdered on August 21, 1983.
So generally, Mr. Norman, you are saying that the Third Republic happened after the Marcos military rule.
Yes, Miss Eds.
Thank you for your answer, Mr. Norman. So now let us proceed to the next question to be answered by our poetess guest, Ms. Rosel. So, Ms. Rosel, what happened to the state of the Filipino poetry during the Third Republic? So good morning again everyone. As what I have read in the articles, during the Third Republic, poems were very romantic and revolutionary. During those times, writers wrote openly about their criticisms against the government. Many writers are against the government that time. That's very interesting. Thank you for that, Ms. Rosel. Now let's proceed to the third question to be answered by our national singer, composer, and writer, Mr. Kent. So here's our question. Are the Filipino songs and Philippine films exist during those times?
So good morning again, everyone. So specifically, yes, Filipino songs and the Philippine films exist during those times, during the Third Republic. So dealt with themes that were really true to life, like those of grief, those of in poverty, aspirations for freedom, love of God, love of country, and love of fellow men. So songs during those times include Laban ng Bayan by Coritha and Eric, and Bayan Ko by Freddy Aguilar. That was the two songs. Of course, there are a lot of songs during those times po. But these two songs is famous during those times. One of the famous songs during those times. So, in another way, films also exist. No, people love for 6 films also was enabled. Many producers took advantage of this at the expense of public morality. So, even if not as Miss Ed's, poetry in English is also exist during those period. Alfredo Navarro Salanga, yes, I think Alfredo Navarro Salanga, one of the consistent writer of the Philippines Panorama magazine, in his column Post-Prandial Reflections. So it is a protest poetry during those times.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Mr. Kent. So the last question, or my personal question, is what happened to the media and the fables during those times?
Yes, Miss Eds, medias and prose fables still exist and available during Third Republic, like Media of 1983. Yes, Media of 1983. And for journalists, it was a year loaded with libel charges, lawsuits, and sedition trials, which they gallantly bore as an harassment suits. Then, one of those is the Jaja, or Justice for Aquino, Justice for All movement. That's what we call Jaja. No, it is called for a boycott of government-controlled newspapers in protest of media suppression. Then people picked newspaper offices with coffins to symbolize the death of press freedom. Then journalists of 3 major dailies demanded dialogue with their publishers to restore credibility and respectability to newspapers. Then the opposition tabloids flourished during those times.
About the prose, during those times, people cry for protest, found outlets not only in poetry, but also in veiled prose, especially the Fables, which transparently satirized the occupant in Malacanang. So, the Fables involves the crown jewels of His Own Hearts by Sylvia Mendez Ventura, The King's Call by Babette Lolarga, and The Emperor's New Underwear by Minandro Macaraig.
To wrap it up, our dear audiences, the Philippine literature became the story, the channel, and the light of our Filipino people during those tragic times of the Third Republic. Thank you so much, everyone. To our guests, thank you so much for your time and for sharing your knowledge about the Third Republic period, and as well as the literary works during those times.
You're welcome,
You're welcome, Miss Eads. That's all for today. Tune in tomorrow for another chika and another learnings to gain. This is your host, Idaisa Queen Rosario, your chikadora. So, tara chika! God bless and keep safe, everyone. Bye!